bincangkan the case study, right? We must all start doing it today together. I don't think we have time to do it during the week because work commitment and so on lah. So kita try to brainstorm today. Get your laptop all ready lah. Mr. Pusparaja, I tried to get in touch with you on your land phone number, your house phone, but I cannot get through because apparently there's some problem with your line. Can you double check whether you have hooked the line properly, whether the phone working or not, or whether the phone number is correct, your house number?
Or I suggest that Mr. Pushpa call to Mr. Ken.
Yes, okay. You got my number 012-211-8476. Right? Yeah. Because I tried to get something wrong with your house phone number. Cannot get through.
Because we also hardly get through to Mr. Pushpa, so it's better for Mr. Pushpa to call Mr. Ken.
Yes. Then I can have the number. Will do. Then I can discuss with you because you don't have the video arrangement. I understand you can do the recording lah. Yeah. Do the recording and send in the recording. Okay. Okay, good afternoon to all. So semua sudah dapat itu soalan tu kan? The case study and the also the take-home exam. So kita hari ini bincangkan the case study. You must all do it together. You know, try to build your foundation up and then add on to it during the week lah. Okay, before I move on, somebody asked a question on Transmal last night. Mengapa they are charged under the Security Industry Act, SIA, rather than the Capital Market Service Act? Somebody asked. So this is because the offences were committed before 2007. So if you commit an offence earlier, you'll be charged under the old regulation, the old law. So in the old days, before 2007, ada banyak peraturan, many books and many acts, a few acts. So you can be charged under SIA or under the Securities Commission Act, or under the Futures Act and so on. So kalam kabut lah, those times. So Transmal, because the fraud occurred earlier, so they were charged under SIA. But charged under SIA is better because punishment is less. So during that time, I think the ACTA jail 5 years, but under CMSA is 10 years. So of course, you know, SIA is a better act for the person to be charged under lah, rather than CMSA. So kalau ada what they call that, breaches of regulation happen after 2007, then it will be under CMSA, Capital Market Service Act. So even for insider trading, kalau they dig up an old case many years ago, he won't be charged under CMSA. He'll be charged under the SIA, Securities Industry Act. So the purpose of the CMSA also to consolidate ini ACTA, so many ACTA into one book. They call CMSA lah. So it's more convenient with one book. Everything is there. Last time you got many acts, right? Different acts. So this CMSA, one of the purpose is to consolidate the act. Okay. So I hope this answered the question, but it's a good question. At least somebody wonder about, you know, why under SIA. So the person must have studied the ACTA lah. Okay. People still coming in. Okay, so take out your notebook, take out your whatever. You can start typing in and start to prepare for this question on the take-home case study. You notice that it's like a repeat, bukan? Is it like it's almost like the other assignment that you have. So you kill two birds with one stone now, because you really more or less done part of it. So the soalan case study talks about Enron case, which you should be quite familiar by now from watching the video, reading the case study, reading your lecture notes, background. So Enron case background is they do creative accounting also, right? The creative accounting is based on this concept called mark-to-market concept that the auditors agree and sign off. Mark-to-market is something very new during those times, and Enron also practiced this thing called a black box. Apa ni black box? Peti hitam, black box. You know, the black box meaning a lot of the time when analysts ask Enron, how you get the profit? And what Enron does is when they explain to analysts, they say that, you know, we can't explain to you because it is a secret. It is a secret business model that will take a lot of time to explain to you. So if you want to know, you come and see us. We can explain to you privately lah. So a lot of the analysts, after a while, also they didn't bother, and they only report on the good profits. But how the profit was created was actually what they call that quite difficult to understand. Quite difficult to understand because they didn't explain, or if they try to explain, they use very technical terms lah. So this history of Enron, and then also Enron, if you study the case history, banyak conflict of interest because the external auditor do a lot of consulting work for Enron. In fact, they're earning like what 5-6 million a month just from consulting work, much more than their audit work. So that's why there is no true independence. And then also the campur-campur pekerja dari this Arthur Andersen also go and work for Enron as internal auditor. So by right, the juru audit luar and the juru audit dalam should be separate role lah, separate people, not the same people or the same gang lah, same gang. I'm not surprised if the board of directors also got some ex-auditor on the board of directors, which is also a conflict. In fact, the current regulation under corporate governance say that if you are the juru audit of the syarikat and when you want to join the company as a board, you must leave your audit firm for 2 years. The quarantine period lah, before you can actually go and join the other company as a director, pengarah. I'm just running through and picking up some of the points. Then there's a lot of conflict of interest. On one hand, the director tell the staff to buy the shares, and on the other hand, they are secretly selling the shares, right? So there's a conflict there. Okay, just to tell you the brief history lah. So how to answer this question? How to answer this question? Okay, A. You got the question. You open up on your handphone. You can see the question. Okay, I'm looking at A. Crisis kewangan always happens. Syarikat seperti Enron, Lehman Brothers, dan Transmile collapse because of creative accounting. So to answer this question, can you explain what is creative accounting? Apa ni creative accounting? Google, is it? You can Google now. You'll get a lot of answers from there. So that itself maybe will take half a page of answer already. Apa ni creative accounting? Contoh creative accounting. So offhand, I can think of a definition of creative accounting is the manipulation of profit and loss account, a balance sheet, cash flow, and notes to present a misleading picture. All right. So creative accounting are steps taken by the board of directors and finance staff and accountants and CFO to manipulate, right? Manipulate kunci kira-kira, the profit and loss account, cash flow statement, and also to the notes to the accounts. Manipulate, all right? To present a misleading picture. This is just a suggested answer lah. So if you've got Bahasa version, you need to translate that. You want to do it in Bahasa. If you Google the word in Google creative accounting, that will give you a lot of things to write about for at least half a page or more, right? Now, what are the ways to do creative accounting? Is number one, favorite, inflate revenue lah. Inflate revenue. How to inflate revenue? Transmile is a good case, right? They created fictitious sales order invoices, and also in Silverbird, the bread company, also same. Enron also same.
WorldCom also, Mr. Kian.
WorldCom also. WorldCom better still. WorldCom hide expenses. They hide. So the second method, WorldCom use more. They use both lah, but they use more of the second method where they hide expenses.
Right, that's right.
Melindungi perbelanjaan. How they hide it? Very interesting. WorldCom, whatever expenses, big expenses they incur, they park under balance sheet as intangible asset. For example, spend a few million, billions or whatever lah, research, R&D, whatever lah, or even staff expenses, right? When you incur those expenses, patutnya you should debit perbelanjaan, isn't it? Credit bank or credit loan or whatever. But what WorldCom do is they will debit their kunci kira-kira as an asset.
Declared and under fixed asset.
Under intangible asset, it can be also parked under fixed asset. They can disguise that lah.
Fixed
Right?
asset.
They can do that also. But by right, the external auditor should find out, right? But then guess who is the external auditor for WorldCom? The external auditor for WorldCom is?
Arthur Anderson.
Yes, correct. So apa pun boleh lah. So they park all under this balance sheet. So that means if you got revenue there, but your expenses is very little, then your profit naik lah. But of course, WorldCom also manipulate the revenue also. They also do, but they do both, right? Actually, this guy called Benny Abbas, he is jailed for 20 years also, but dia meninggal dunia last year lah also. Bernie Madoff meninggal dunia last week. So Bernie Abbas, the CEO, passed away from cancer, I think last year. He was released from the jail early because of kesihatan no good. So I think in US, if you are under terminal sickness, there is ground to apply for macam early release lah. So he released, and shortly after that, dia meninggal dunia from the illness. And you know what's the qualification of Bernie Abbas sebagai CEO of WorldCom? Bernie Abbas' former occupation was a basketball coach. So he ran the company like he ran a basketball team lah. So sometimes very funny, the CEO not really qualified, but they put him in there. You know, just like the Menteri Besar of California, during the time of Enron, you know who was the Menteri Besar at the time? California, where Enron is quite active in California running the electricity business. The governor or the Menteri Besar, so-called, was Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know, the actor, the one that say, is it the Terminator, the fella. Imagine, in America, he become the chief minister of the state of California. That's why Enron can pakat with people like that, you know, and influence them in order to get what they want lah. Political also interference.
Like Ronald Reagan also.
Oh, Ronald Reagan is another actor.
An actor.
Very good actor.
Yeah.
So sometimes they say actor make very good president because you know they act so well. Donald Trump is also actor, you know, because he run the show called Apprentice.
Yes,
So,
yes.
Apprentice. So he's actually actor also.
Apprentice.
Apprentice. So don't be surprised, you know, actor keep getting appointed because they know how to act and how to present to the crowd. To the crowd. So if you talk nice enough, people are attracted to your company to invest your company. So if you talk to fund manager and you appear very impressive, you kena tipu lah sometimes, and then you put money in the company practice creative accounting, you get caught, and then you lose all your money. Recently, many creative accounting cases. There was another company that sell the chips, London Biscuit. You know, the Mr. Potato Man, the chips, you know, one of the chips, quite popular chip is found in 7-Eleven. Last year, the company closed down. They have plenty of assets on the balance sheet, kunci kira-kira, but after impairment, become negative. They wrote off more than 400 million. So the machineries, the plant and machineries, all palsu. They say fraud lah, the one fraud case. The fraud case. There's no such machine, but they draw down the loan from the banks, and then the banks release the money, right? But the machinery is only backed up by documents from the port. So actually it's a fictitious machinery, which forensic auditors found out But the external auditor got problem because why did the external auditor never check? By right, they should verify the asset, bukan? Remember we did the case study assignment 1, is it? How to audit fixed asset, right? So if you follow the fixed asset verification audit program, you should be able to pick it up. Because why? Physical verification, you must go there, look at the serial number, see whether the machine work or not. If you're not expert in the machine, you should get a valuer to get some kind of verification, certification. So, okay, so creative accounting, you define upper near creative accounting for your answer, right? For manipulation. Then the methods is overstate revenue. Sometimes it can be also understate revenue, you know. Why they want the understate revenue? They want to make themselves look ugly, why? Because sometimes somebody want to buy the company cheap and they pakat with the management to show a very bad picture, or they don't want to pay income tax, right? They want to pay income tax, so they report less. They hide the revenue. They hide the revenue and depress the revenue to make a very negative picture. So the share price drop, and then their people can buy the share cheap and then take over the company, right? So you can make yourself pretty. You can also make yourself look ugly. But what we want is present a true picture of yourself, isn't it? That is true accounting. But in life, it can be either make it look very good or make it look very bad. Okay. Number 2 is to hide expenses, which is WorkCom, or it can be like the other way around, make it look ugly, inflate the expenses. Why? Maybe don't want to pay income tax, or maybe want to buy the company cheap. All right. So these 2 items very common in the profit and loss account. This is how you cheat lah. But you can also cheat on the balance sheet. How to cheat on the balance sheet is you try to hide common. How to hide liability. Enron case, they can hide liability, right? They form another company overseas. They use that company to borrow money. So it's not recorded in the consolidated account, group account. So you cannot see part of the picture. It's like husband and wife. Husband looks very rich, but the wife go and borrow a lot of money. All right, that's fine. Borrow a lot of money, but the guarantee is by the husband. All right. So what happened is kalau the wife default, the husband can be left to pick up the bills, so to say. So that's why it's important to have group accounts so that you can capture the whole picture, not see part of the picture. All right. So hide liabilities. The other one is to inflate your asset. How to inflate your asset? You can overvalue your asset. All right. So your land is worth RM1. Maybe you can get your per square foot. Maybe you can get your valuer to sign off, revalue it at RM10. Then the asset will increase by 10 times for your land. All right. How they value land is they get valuers. So valuers, if you pay them enough, they may actually sign off a certificate for you to inflate. But now the Securities Commission got a valuer department within their organization. So they will double check now your valuation in the Securities Commission. So bila you revalue something, I'm not sure whether the world 100% check, but there is a valuer in the SC that will perform the function of independent valuation of properties. All right. And also valuers are licensed people, right? Under the Valuation Act, they are licensed under under a body. So they can get the license gantung if the SC make noise that they are not ethical. They may make lodge a complaint to the relevant membership body, and the valuer may get their license gantung also if they are not careful. Okay. So does that help you to answer the question really? Because you have to define upper near valuation. Okay, then after that, upper near peranan akta syarikat to prevent creative accounting. So it's time to run through this book. Okay. So you run through this book. Basically, you've done some of your assignment earlier. So the relevant section is what? You can remember? Section. What are the section on accounting? Can you still remember or not? By now you should remember, right?
249, 250.
All right. So you can run through, you can mention briefly lah, what are the sections that you think can create, prevent creative accounting. Now we are trying to skew on how they can manipulate account. So look at division 3, page section 243. If you have the book on page 12 on the heading lah. So I think 244 is relevant. 244, which is compliance with approved accounting standards. Last time, during Enron's time, during Workcom time, I think even during Transmal time, there's not enough of accounting standards, right? So now kita ada compliance with approved accounting standards. Kalau dia mengikuti approved accounting standards, this will reduce a lot of opportunity for creative accounting. Agree? For example, during Enron's time, if they have approved accounting standards and external auditor by law under Capital Market Services Act must follow. If they don't follow, they kena charge. They could be denda, right? Atau penjara kan? So as an auditor, you will be incentivized or forced to follow accounting standards. Now, the CFO of the syarikat must also follow accounting standards, right? Otherwise, somebody lodge a complaint with the MRA, he may lose his accounting license juga. So I think you should mention this section in your answer. Now they are referring to Akta Syarikat, how Akta Syarikat can prevent creative accounting. So I think 244 is a must lah to answer lah, right? So you just mentioned section 244, explain sikit lah what's 244, right? Do you have a choice not to follow?
It's under division 3, Mr. Kin.
Sorry?
Is it under division 3?
Division 3, yes, correct. Muka surat 12, if you're having the versi bahasa English. Kalau versi BM, I think it's around there lah, page 12 or 13. Section 244, 244, compliance with approved accounting standard.
That one is CMSA. Is it the one?
No.
Companies Act.
Akta Syarikat.
Akta Syarikat.
Akta Syarikat, yeah. 2016. Because the question asks you about, if you read the question, it asks you about Akta Syarikat. Akta Syarikat. They want you to know, to use Akta Syarikat to answer this question. 2016. Okay. So
2016.
Akta Syarikat. The one, the soft copy sent to you all. I think you got versi bahasa Malaysia dan versi English. So you use the one that is appropriate lah for you. You can actually start answering the question already along those lines. Then you get less work to do for the week. Okay, other sections that are relevant. I think 246, kawalan dalam. 246 says about the director must maintain system kawalan dalam internal control. And what is internal control? We discussed 2 nights ago. Kawalan dalam definasi, you got a definition. And one of the importance of kawalan dalam is to ensure that your accounts are reliable and comply with regulation. Remember that? So you say that this section provides that director's responsibility must go and check. Who will check? You think the CEO will check? He's supposed to check lah. But what if he's the fraudster? In most cases, he is the one that is responsible for creative accounting. So the pengarah bebas supposed to look at it, right? Internal whistleblower. Now, who are the pengarah bebas? And tidak ada kaitan relationship with the CEO. Their role is check and balance. So the one that's looking at the accounts, siapa ni? Jawatan kuasa, audit, the audit committee. Now in the audit committee, at least satu member must be a qualified accountant. Can they say that they don't know accounts? Cannot, because there's a requirement under Bursa listing rule that in the audit committee, at least satu must be qualified accountant. And all the other members of the audit committee must attend accounting course and finance course continuously. All right. So there's no excuse and say I don't know account, because as a member of the audit committee, one of them qualified accountant, and the young lion, they must show proof that they have gone for continuous training in finance and accounting. How to prove that? Every year there must be a training program for the pengarah, and this must be reported in the laporan tahunan annual report. If the fellow show no training, next thing you know, he'll be called to drink coffee with Busa and the SC, explain why he never go for training. All right. So all must go for training, not golf training, not playing golf training, but actually go for training and relevant courses. So audit committee should attend finance and accounting if they are not a qualified accountant. Right.
So for the qualified ones, they no need to attend.
Because already qualified, but they need to attend, but they can attend other type of courses lah that is relevant to the job lah. So mungkin he attend something on corporate governance, or maybe he attend something on taxation, and so on. But because lately they changed to a Bursa listing, they say that all these members of the audit committee should be financially literate. I think in corporate governance also they say should be lah. If you're not literate, then how can you sit on the audit committee? Audit committee by right is to look at all these accounts, whether got fraud or not, whether there's creative accounting. That's a role. So kalau you're not conversant with even how to read the kunci kira-kira, how to become a member. So because when you join as a member, you must disclose what's your background. What's your background? In fact, in Australia, kalau you want to be reappointed as a pengarah bebas, you must come and address the shareholder, talk to the shareholder. And shareholder can ask you the question, Q&A. It's like election, going for election like that. But in Malaysia, very quiet one. Reappointment, just vote only, that's it. All right? So,
Mr. Ken,
yeah.
Mr. Ken, what about if the pengarah bebas also the audit committee? There is, they can do that.
He can do that, but
That's
the
happened
chairman,
in Transmile, where the two pengarah bebas, also the audit community, and there is fraud over there.
Yeah, but they are very silly. They're involved in the fraud and they use their name to help the company to cheat. They form a company and the pengarah bebas name is inside there as a director. So that's a very clear shot. So he kena, I think 2 years jail. I'm not sure. 1 year or 2 years, I don't know. But the CFO also kena. But the CEO so far, nothing happened to him. He's still in a court case. Because his excuse is he doesn't know. All these are cooked up by the CFO and other members. He's innocent, he said lah.
No, just recently when I read,
usual defense, just like in our current case, ex-PM say he cannot remember or he never tell them to do it. So try to pass the buck down the line because he never signed anything. So if you remember the style, is always he's not on the committee, he doesn't sign the thing, somebody else signed. So in the 1MDB case also, if you look at it, it's very funny. The ex-prime minister is only advisor. He's not on the board. So if you try to use Akta Syarikat on him, you cannot because he's not a pengarah. He's the advisor, right? So by right, who's liable will be the CEO, the CEO now is in hot soup also, Kanda, Mr. Kanda. Is it Mr. Kanda? I can't remember his name. Aru Kanda. Aru Kanda is been charged for trying to change the audit report together with the Prime Minister, the ex-Prime Minister, right? So there are a lot of loopholes, loopholes around there. But by and large, be very careful because people like you are the workhorse, and likely that you'll be initialing or signing something. So sometimes you want the boss to sign also, so that together, later on he cannot claim he doesn't know. What if your boss asks you to prepare a cash check or prepare something to pay something and no record, no backing documents. Will you do it?
No.
No, but bonus just round the corner. And he hinted
No.
maybe you can get 12 months bonus.
You want to go to the jail or you want to get the bonus?
Exactly right. I've met people who are very principled and they were not sacked, but they were cold storage for a long time. Right? Many years ago, I attended a meeting in Singapore. They had a meeting in Singapore, Malaysian company meeting in Singapore. Then during the night, after meeting, all of them went to makan besar and celebration. Only 2% left in the hotel, right? Was me. I'm an internal auditor, so fair enough, and the CFO lady. So we have candlelight uh, at the restaurant. So I asked her, hey, how come you didn't go join the rest or celebration after board meeting? You see, because the chairman asked her to issue 1 million ringgit check. The time can have cash check. She refused. She refused. So the boss cold storage her. But fast forward 10 years later, that chairman now in jail. It's a company called what's the name? It slipped my mind. It's called Singatronics, the company. Singatronics. So 10 years forward, the CFO is still there in the company in Sungai Petani, but the chairman has been charged for CBT and already locked up lah. Right? So she did the right thing lah. She did the right thing. Otherwise, she and her, maybe if she did what he told, she'll be in jail, but the boss won't be in jail. Possible lah, because she's a CFO, right? But if you really want to please your boss, but because bonus 12 months, you cannot stand it, is you can send an email to the boss and say, as per your instruction, if I don't hear from you, I will proceed to issue the check lah. Send an email to him. If it shows that it's been read, he didn't reply, I think that's good enough for you to go ahead. Because later anything happen, you can always say that you can save a record of the server that you have sent the email to him and he has read it. When you read, I think the email, there's a tick, right? I think, I'm not sure whether there is, but if you know your accounting system well, you ask the IT fella to extract a record for you. So if the boss is not very savvy, right, you will still get your bonus. You still
Okay,
get
sir. What about the auditors? Why did not charge the auditors in Transmar's case?
Good question. They have been sued already. Both the internal auditor and the external auditor were sued. Yeah, because at that time, I think the CMSA was not enforced. If I'm not mistaken, they were charged as the Securities Industry Act. So during that time, no auditor of the auditor, But there is under the old Akta Syarikat or under civil law, you can charge for negligence. So the bankers or aggrieved party took action against the external auditor and the internal auditor separately for civil case. I do not know what happened, but I believe the external auditor settled out of court. Because I go to court, so maybe they settle outside, okay, I pay you 10, 20 million, gao tim the whole thing, close the matter everybody happy, right? I believe that's what happened in Transmar. And why the auditor not charged? Because during that time, CMSA belum enforced. So they are lucky lah. But now you do it, sure kena already. First, the AOB, little thing also was suspend your license already. Last week, I sent yours WhatsApp, right? 2 fella kena already. What? One lady kena 45,000 fine for not following approved auditing standards. All right. So I think it's good. All these things you can mention in your answer. You have good laws. One of your answer you can put in is ada undang-undang yang baik berbanding dengan Singapura. Tetapi kita tidak ada enforcement yang uniform. So we are selective. They appear to be selective enforcement. So some people kena kuat-kuat when they are convicted, but some people get very light sentence, almost the same. So like I told you, insider trading under Capital Market Service Act, Stanley Tai kena 5 years jail. The Supermax boss before he appealed and got away. But the lady from AAA, ED, a lady who kena charged for the same kind of offences, insider trading, she kena 1 day jail and 1 million fine. Stanley Tai kena 5 years jail and 5 million fine. Big difference, huh? But of course, the only difference is this lady plead guilty lah. Dia mengaku salah. Whereas Stanley Tai say I'm not guilty and he fight all the way lah. So mungkin if you fight, maybe you get heavier punishment if you are found guilty. Whereas you plead not guilty, maybe the judge a bit more what do you call that pity lah, take pity, or then they say remorse. In criminal case, you show that you're very remorse, you cry, you appear very sad, and you say sorry, right? If you do that, you get discount. Sometimes some people even come in wheelchair, they say they fall sick, pretend lah, come in wheelchair. I think Pawaja still, the fellow was charged last time for some offences, was charged. He came in wheelchair, but when he was found not guilty, after that he can walk already. So this is how they appeal to the judge lah. Many methods. Another way is maybe they can bring back into jury system. In like US, jury system means not the judge make the call, the people make the call. You get 12 people that they select at random, duduk, mendengar the case, But then the disadvantage is you put some poor fella in there and the responsibility is quite heavy lah on the jury. But you get paid lah. You get paid. So in US, there are many cases where they can sit for months, months and months. Like Michael Jackson case, for months they'll be sitting down there. You get paid, They call jury duty. There were some stupid cases where the jury fall in love with the accused during the case, because they were wing or whatever. So they start to write love letter. There were cases, and what happened after that? They have to discharge the whole jury because not independent anymore, because they develop a feeling for each other. So in US, a lot of cases like judge, prosecutor must be independent. All right. So I think you can mention that in your answer also. We have good regulation in Akta Syarikat, but enforcement is not very clear-cut, not uniform. And who enforce Akta Syarikat is who? It's not SC. It is the Companies Commission. So Companies Commission, CCM, got a very weak record in terms of prosecution. They've so far been Mr. Nice Guy. Not many people kena bad from Akta Syarikat, but normally they get it bad from MECC, they get it very bad from Securities Commission. And also if it's straight CBT, then Bukit Aman case lah. All right. So you can put that as I think it's a fair answer lah, because it's actually like that. All right. Okay. The other one is financial statement 251, section 251, financial statement to be approved by the board. Now, who is responsible for the penyata kewangan at the AGM? Is it the saham holder or is it the pengarah?
Board of directors.
Yeah, yeah, correct. When you table the accounts, this is the only item on the agenda that is not require shareholder approval. It's only called to table the accounts. It's not for approval. The shareholder cannot approve the account because tanggungjawab penyata kewangan under Akta Syarikat is pengarah, bukan saham holder. Alright. So when you present the account, saham holder boleh tanya soalan, questions saja. Tidak boleh approve atau reject accounts. But you can bang the table and ask a lot of questions. They're supposed to answer lah. But nowadays virtual meeting very susah lah. Cannot bang table because virtual they can just say they never receive a message. You see, I would suggest that for virtual meeting, we can only communicate via chat box, bukan? Chat box. But if it's via Zoom, we can actually verbalize. We can ask the question orally. By right, that should be the way. So far, of all the AGM I attended, only one company offered that service. Only one company offered the service. So for Trico or this professional company secretary, the only thing available, virtual platform, is only through chat box. So chat box, you cannot ask very detailed financial questions, right? But verbally, I can ask. And then very fast, I can ask the follow-up question, right? So this is again under AGM to question the account. It's not so good now because of the COVID case. We cannot, what do you call that, attend physical meeting. But they could make it better by allowing oral questions, audio questions to be broadcast, to the board, and the board can answer orally so that everybody can listen.
Mr. Ken, the shareholder can change the CEO or the board of director, is it?
They can requisite a meeting, a general meeting, which has happened very frequently now, to remove certain director or even remove the whole board of director, right? So you go to the vote, if the majority will win. There were cases where the whole board all get kicked out, right? Especially for fraud cases lah. I think in Transmile they had AGM where the board removed the directors.
The directors, yeah.
Yeah, either remove or resign before the thing come. All right. So all you need is a majority vote, +1 majority. Then you can actually take over the board. Of course, you can use technicality lah. A lot of time the lawyers say this meeting not valid. Why? They got all technical. So if you're a lawyer who master the Companies Act, you can cari makan also, because you can have a lot of tricks in your book. In there, you go through, spend your time going through the whole book, cover to cover. You sure find something that will help the person. All right. So a good lawyer is somebody who can help you to get off the hook by looking for loopholes. So Akta Syarikat got loopholes if you look hard enough. All right. I think this will give you quite a good sort of answers already. Okay, auditors. So just now we're talking about accounts. So under 262, we talk about auditors. Section Okay, 285, section 285, attendance of auditors at general meeting where financial statements are being late. 285. I think that is a deterrent also to creative accounting. Kalau shareholder don't ask the board, ask the auditor. All right. So question you can ask the auditor is there any creative accounting issue that we should know? Ask him to say yes or no. This will put the auditor in a very uncomfortable position, right? Or you study the account, you pick up something very targeted. For example, debtors. Yeah, you already done your homework. You can ask the auditor, can I know the aging of the debtors? Can the guy say he doesn't know? He doesn't know, he'll be sacked as an auditor already lah. He won't be reappointed, right? So once he do that, he can zoom in already, ask, how come outstanding for so long? Right? How come no impairment and so on? You can ask auditors. Generally, you cannot ask general question a guy can escape. So what you do is you do your homework. If there's an internal whistleblower, even better, you get the facts. Then you drag the auditor out on the stand. Don't let him off the hook lah, right? So this is a very good way to prevent creative accounting, because the auditor is the goalkeeper. All right, is the goalkeeper. If we ask a CEO, no use, for a question like that. Now the CEO will cover up. You ask a CFO, you think he'll cover up also? I think so lah, because CFO help the boss, CEO. But auditor are being appointed by shareholder. They're supposed to report to shareholder. All right. So if you've done your homework, you can ask the auditor some very embarrassing question. You have to answer. Okay. So this will force the auditor to send a message to the auditor, you better be more vigilant to prevent creative accounting. Okay. So I think generally you can start off with a question like, Mr. Auditor, is there any fraud case that we should know? Major short fraud cases? Is there any irregularities? Right? And also, Mr. Auditor, in your audit report, you mentioned that there are issues that called key audit matter. So nowadays in the audit report, different from last time, like Transmile, they just sign accounts adalah benar dan saksama. Nowadays, the recent audit report, there are the one matter called key audit matter. Key audit matter in short form means what are the matter that keep the auditor awake at night. So you can ask the auditor again, Mr. Auditor, what keeps you awake at night? He asked the question. Then the guy say, please refer to my audit report. Then you find the 3 items there. Then apart from that, you ask him, what other matter keep you awake at night? So last time they're very simple. They'll say account benar dan saksama, full stop. But now they have to talk about forward-looking, right? Forward-looking. What are the matters that make you cannot sleep at night? Which means something that bother you but not found in the accounts also possible, right? So in the key audit matter, normally they mention about debtors, inventory, solvency, very standard thing lah. So they try to, create something very standard just to comply. So yourself, you can ask more pertinent question to sort of see the thing more clearly lah. So this will also keep them honest, right? The bookkeeper honest. So this one is because he cannot escape, right? He has to attend. If it does not attend, it's an offense. It's an offense, he has to attend. So 285, attendance of juror audit at general meeting where financial statement are late. Shareholder like you and me should go and interrogate him. All right, interrogate him. Okay, so this is all the section on the what you can select. Maybe you can find other items also. Also, maybe audit report. The new type of audit report is also very good to prevent aggressive accounting. It's a new type of audit report. Previously, the audit report format is very simple. They certify benar dan sesama. Now is benar dan sesama dan apa matter under key audit matter have to be disclosed also. They have to also disclose if they find fraud and let the shareholder know. You can run through the other sections of the Act that may be helpful as well. I'm just running through lah. So internal control, you already know. Sometimes we run through the heading, you may find a section that is relevant to you. There's also a business sense test. Nowadays, directors have to prove business sense. All right. I'm trying to look for the section. It's not under the auditors. Business judgment. Can somebody find it? If you run through the heading, there's one section that directors have to exercise business judgment. Now you feel like a company secretary, lawyer, by running through the Act. I saw it just now, but I'm just trying to locate it again. Okay, before that, 250 can also prevent creative accounting. Subsidiaries, 250, subsidiaries to be included in the consolidated financial statements. This will give a whole picture, right? Because, for example, husband and wife. The wife borrow money, but you don't prepare a joint accounts. Then person who read the husband's as a financial account can only see the husband's account. He cannot see the what's the contingent liability of the wife. But if you group the accounts and say that a family account must be prepared, that means the account is husband and wife account. Then you can see a better picture. You cannot do creative accounting lah. All right. So next time, ladies who want to look for husband, a boyfriend, the boyfriend say, I'm very rich. I got 2 million ringgit, cash. I show you lah. What you should ask is, can I see your group accounts or not? Because he may have liability and borrowing that he doesn't show you. He may have 20 million borrowings, all right? But he show you only the 1 million bank account, credit balance. But he got minus 20 somewhere. So next time, the ladies, you should ask for, can I see the group accounts kumpulan? So this section under 250 help to prevent hiding under subsidiaries or associate company. All right. So this section is quite good because in some countries like Japan, they don't have group accounts. So there are a lot of hanky-panky can happen where they hide those terrible things in the subsidiary, cannot see, especially overseas, they consolidate overseas. So Enron also do that. Enron will form subsidiaries overseas in another country and not consolidated. All right. Or they keep it below 50%, 51%, they become 49%. So become associated company. But you still need to equity account associated companies. All right. So it's important. This section called 2. What's it? Group accounts. Group accounts is what section again? 250. Section 250. 214. This one not under account, but under director's responsibility. Section 214. Business judgment rule. 214. So the directors must exercise business judgment in what they do. This is a new section under the Act. Last time don't have one, this one. Section 214. Okay, called business judgment. You must exercise good business judgment in good faith. That means you must have proper working papers. You must have something in writing to prove a particular decision. So they say they want to start a new business or whatever. The director must prove that he has done his due diligence. They dapat projections done in a reasonable and professional way to show that that business makes sense. All right. So in a way, if they acquire subsidiary or new businesses that don't make sense, this will force the director to do a due diligence before they buy a new company. So when they buy a new company, what should the directors do? Ask for what? If the company want to, the CEO say we want to take over Syarikat XYZ, the director should ask for audited accounts of the other company, isn't it? And then ask to see the business, visit the company, look at the projection, what kind of business, do a feasibility study. All right. So the business feasibility study should, as a minimum, have a business plan, the products of the company, a forecast of the cash flow for the 2-3 years, what kind of profits are projected, what kind of historical results are been prepared. So ask for the past 3 years accounts, audited. Not if it's not audited, don't accept lah. All right, audited accounts, past 3 years to get a track record. So all these will prevent later on they say that other creative accounting issues. A good example was when Top Glove took over another glove company 2 years ago, a year ago. Espion, they took over. They took over without doing proper due diligence. Then later, the CEO Tan Sri Lim make noise. He said that we have been cheated because there are assets that are overstated in there. The inventories, mesti buang punya, very old. So they say there should be impairment of 150 million, right off. So the question being asked is, how come Tan's really never do due diligence before? They should at least go and see the inventory, right? Get somebody to look at it. So they make an impairment for 150 million on the acquisition because they did not exercise good business judgment. They should do all this. Don't simply go and take over something unless it's like you buy a second-hand car. Make sure you check the car before you buy the car, right? But he's lucky now glove prices went up, so that subsidiary that he took over is a glove manufacturer. So by luck, he also make money. because so happened that there's a COVID case. COVID case saved him. All right. You think that is a comprehensive enough answer for this? Should be, huh? Okay, part C, bahagian kuasa dan tugas juru audit. Okay, this one shouldn't be a problem, right? What are the powers of the auditors? Can they prevent all fraud? So again, answer is no. Auditors cannot prevent all fraud. Why? Because kalau ada collusion, ada fraud, collusion with the top management, it could be a very sophisticated fraud that auditors may not be able to detect, but they should have reasonable assurance. All right, munasabah, reasonable assurance. So the Act, look at the auditors under section
266.
266, yes, 266 power duty. So I think this one no need to explain, right? You can actually zoom in there, do some Googling as well on this. I think this one you can at least write a page or two, lah. No problem, huh? Duties and responsibility. So 266 is one. And there are two types of companies, huh? You got private and public. So your answer, you should divide the two, lah. The power in relation to the public and the power in relation to the private. All right. This section got the two. One is for public company, one is for private company. There's a provision that relate to auditors of a public company, section 271, isn't it? Huh? So it's not just rights, rights and duties. They have a duty also. 266. So section 266. I think this section more than enough for you to, to digest. You can summarize it, lah. All right. And can it prevent all fraud? Answer is no, lah. Only can give reasonable assurance. Apakah kehendak? What is the general aim for the financial statement that is required by 249, section 249? What are the general requirements of financial statement required? 249. So turn to 249 lah. General requirements. So it's very factual one, not difficult, right? So we have actually answered A, B, C, D. So it's not difficult, right? It's not difficult. So Mr. Puswaraja, you have your software, right? You got your words, huh? All right. Later you call me or I call you. Then I will discuss you further on your case, on the presentation, the audio ones. Now, I was thinking it's probably more fruitful for you to go and do your work now, rather than go and do another 3 hours, which you're really very tired. But I suggest for the next 1 to 2 hours, you actually do these particular questions because still fresh in your mind, right? I've discussed. Don't leave your table. Continue to answer this question. All right. And I suggest we meet again maybe on let me see, for a short session, maybe at 10. I think it's more fruitful to discuss further on the status of your project. Let me see. On Wednesday, are you guys good for 10 o'clock for a short session? Malam, after you buka puasa and fresh in mind.
Okay.
Okay.
If everyone is okay, I think what we do is, I think it's more fruitful because we just discussed this particular question. Get down to it and do it now. All right. Start typing in the answer. This particular question actually is a free gift to you all. Because so happen to choose it is actually in a way related to your first assignment, quiz Akta Syarikat. So you do one work, you answer two questions. Right, they could have choose the other one, CMSA, then teruk case you have to have two act to study. But it looks like the focus seems to be on Akta Syarikat and also on the internal control. So for the yesterday, the other day we discussed on the question on kawalan dalam. So remember, look at your notes on kawalan dalam to answer the question. Google the word COSO, 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 and also choose any annual report of a company from Bursa. Look at the statement of internal control and kawalan dalam. See what is inside there. All right. So on the Wednesday, Wednesday 10, we will revisit the question again. So by that time, you should have done something substantial for the 3 papers, right? You just tambah saja lah, just add on lah. So, okay, is it okay with you guys with this? Because I see that if I push for the next 4 hours also, it's like your time is better spent to go and actually do it, and then we discuss on Wednesday when you already got the foundation. All right. So get your Akta Syarikat out now. Don't go and shop yet, and spend the next 2 hours prepare. So when I see you on Wednesday, then we will fine tune it lah. Fine tune. So I think we're more or less done. Most of the thing required. The rest is hard work on your side lah. Hard work on your side. Okay. So don't leave your desk. Go and do your work for the next at least 1.5 hours lah. Type. Because working day very susah to work. How many are working from home next week? Because there's a new arrangement. A lot of people have to stay back now to work from home because of the COVID case. You're not affected, anybody affected have to work from home?
No.
Yeah.
No. Some yes. I think there's a chance that you have to work from home 2 or 3 days a week. Many cases. Schools are now, a lot of schools are also tutup for the quarantine. Okay, so we have spent 1 hour on this question. So we will sign off now. Go and do your work, and I will see you on Wednesday at 10 o'clock to discuss further. Right? Somebody worried about whether can do it on time. We will see how you guys do lah. Whether you can meet the deadline on the 2nd, right? You try to do. See whether. If not, we have to give you some breathing space. Videos, any problem with it? Except for Mr. Pusaraja, the rest of you can use your handphone and do some editing or whatever lah. Okay. So I'll sign off now. Start to do the assignment. If you have any problem, you can WhatsApp me also.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Ken.
Thank you.
Okay. Yep. Start. Yep. Start your work
Thank you,
now.
Mr. Ken.
Yep. Okay. Start your work now. Go and do
Thank you,
the.
Mr. Ken.
Okay. All right.